Right, today we're going to be talking about Black Panther, and much like the Captain America video that I did a while back, we've got a lot of comics to talk about because the Marvel Comics app is doing a thing to tribute the death of Chadwick Boseman, and every Black Panther book on the app is completely free. So if you want to get into as sad a thing as Chadwick Boseman's death is, the shining light that comes out of it is that a lot of Black Panther books are severely reduced in price or actually free on the Marvel Comics app and on Comixology and on Marvel Unlimited. So if you want to get into Black Panther and you want a place to start, and hopefully this gets more people into reading comic books that were a fan of the films. So if you want to get into Black Panther, all the Black Panther stuff on all of the Marvel Comics apps is free. It's free for the month. Actually, I don't know how long it's going to be free for, but it's free at the moment. So get there whilst the stuff is free or severely reduced prices. But without further ado, let's just jump into talking about a load of Black Panther comics. So Black Panther is really good. It's really good at the moment. Ta-Nehisi Coates, same writer that's on Captain America, he's been on Black Panther for a long time. He's been on Black Panther since 2016 at this point, and he's still going strong. I wasn't reading him back after Secret Wars chunk, but I picked up his new run after Secret Empire, and oh my god, this guy can write. He can write comics, man. He's not got very good choice in artists that he works with, because Daniel Acuna, his artwork is great. It's the rest. The artwork does slowly get better as the story goes on. It's not like Captain America where it's too cartoony for the story that they're trying to tell. Here it's a bit too dark for the story that they're trying to tell. And yes, it's a dark story, and yes, it's political, but it's also Star Wars, but it's also the Black Panther that you know from the film, but also there's a lot of other side characters, and the big thing that I have to draw out of this is Black Panther isn't really a main star in his own book. There's so many side characters and there's so many side arcs that they're trying to do that T'Challa actually takes a back seat. And he's never the focal point of this story. The focal point of the story is the villain, which is N'Jadaka, which isn't actually N'Jadaka. It's a symbiote from space that takes over the bodies, bodies, and it's trying to find a suitable host, and ends up when it eventually does get back to Earth, when T'Challa gets back to Earth, it does find the dead body of N'Jadaka, who is, who you may know better if you saw the Black Panther film, as Killmonger. Killmonger is dead at this point, but the symbiote reconnects with the dead body of Killmonger and ends up resurrecting him, along with two other Black Panther villains that I don't know as well, that weren't in the film. I'm going to say this right now, I don't know that much about Black Panther, so I'm going into this knowing basically what's in the film and what's in the Who is the Black Panther story arc that was a few years ago and probably isn't even canon anymore, because they've got the weird version of Claw where it's just the arm and it's more of a movie-like version of Claw, even though that came out before the movie. But yeah, I really am enjoying this. Just, I want to see more Black Panther in the Black Panther book. There's not a lot of that, and we only get to see that like once he's back on Earth, and we get to see he's got like a suit that is very much like the movie, where it's got the vibranium pulsing through it, and like it can do the discharges of like kinetic energy and all that. But it is like, for the most part, the whole point of the story is that T'Challa's mum was trying to find a way to like find the origins of the meteorite of vibranium that landed in Wakanda. So she and then eventually T'Challa sent a load of like Wakandans into space, and these Wakandans that ended up in space didn't come back. Instead, they like made their own society of like the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, and this empire has basically taken to stealing and brainwashing people from around 5 universes or 5 galaxies, and is basically turning them into slaves for this empire. And like this empire has taken the whole Black Panther mantle as kind of a mythology, and all of like the stories of the Black Panther is kind of a mythology for this like Wakandan empire. So they're all like, all of the big players in the empire is named after characters from Wakanda on Earth. So we've got M'Baku, we've got Nejidaka, we've got Nakia, we've got all the like major players in any other Black Panther story are seen in this empire, but it's not the actual characters from Wakanda itself. They're just other Wakandans that have named themselves after key players in most storylines with Black Panther. But by the end of this, when the symbiote that's like called itself Nejidaka ends up finding Killmonger and resurrecting him, we then actually get to the big like war between Wakanda Prime, which is the Wakanda that's on Earth, and the Empire, and they end up like clashing off. Shuri ends up recruiting a load of other superheroes from like around the world, and Thunderbolt is there for some reason. I think Ta-Nehisi Coates really likes Thunderbolt, but doesn't want him to do anything important. So he's just like, we're gonna have him say a lot of things we're gonna have him talk a lot in Captain America, and then we're gonna have him come to Wakanda in Black Panther but not do anything. Because like Luke Cage is in like a panel and he doesn't do anything. They're just like, oh, we've got him there, and we've got Ironheart, and we've got all these other like black superheroes that are going to help fight in Wakanda, but the only ones that actually do anything is this character called Eden, who can like teleport people from place to place, and he's also got like powers that I don't quite understand, that aren't really discussed in this book. He's probably a big Black Panther side character, it's just I don't know him that well, The only place where I've seen him outside of this is Secret Wars, and he was one of the characters that I was like, who the fuck is this? And Storm gets a lot of play. Obviously, she's the actual wife of Black Panther, so of course she's going to be a big player in this, and they actually show off just how powerful Storm is. And that's the big kind of problem with this, is it's more a Storm book, and Storm does more cool things than T'Challa does, than actual Black Panther does, and it's Black Panther's book. I'm not saying that it's like that it's written poorly. It's written really well, and you actually get to care for all of the side characters, and when one of the side characters does make the ultimate sacrifice, you feel it. But yeah, there's just not enough Black Panther, and I read 12 issues in like a big chunk, and T'Challa barely does anything. He just kind of stands and then talks to people, and then goes into like the Jabari or the Djalia, the big like astral plane place where he goes after he like at the star-shaped fruit, the heart-shaped herb, the herb that he had, the concoction, like the heart-shaped herb fruit thing. I can't remember what it is, but it's the astral plane place where he goes to talk to the previous incarnations of Black Panther, so that he can like get them to give all of these other like brainwashed Wakandans their memories back, and these other brainwashed aliens their memories back as well. And that's all he kind of does. And yes, it is a cool issue when he does go in there and he does like have to fight all these past incarnations of the Black Panther and all of his ancestors. And you see like they bring up all of the things where T'Challa is essentially fucked up, where he's like betrayed his friends, or where he's acted in the interests of himself above his country and above his allies and his friends, and when he's taken the interests of America and American politics above the interest of Wakanda. And it's all very interesting, it's all very political, but it's written so well. And that's the thing that Ta-Nehisi Coates can do really well, is he can write a political story that doesn't feel like the politics are getting in the way of the story. It feels like the reason why it's political is to serve the story and to take the character in a more interesting direction. And he is put on books that are specifically tailored to that storytelling style. Like obviously if this kind of story was in a Spider-Man book or in a Daredevil book, it wouldn't work. But here, because it's Black Panther, and because Black Panther is like a character that is like surrounded by politics, he's literally the king of a country. He is the descendant of a long line of dictators essentially, and he's only just brought in democracy into Wakanda, even though it was working as like one of the only dictatorships that wasn't like completely evil in the first place. But he's brought in like this new like wave of democracy and peace into Wakanda, and the big like thing is like if he does reconnect with the Jalia, he's going to basically all of that democracy is going to collapse in on itself, and he's not going to be able to uphold the peace that he's found, or the peace that Wakanda has found whilst he was in space. But yeah, Black Panther is really cool at the moment, and I highly recommend checking it out, and you can check out the full series for free. You can pick up every issue so far for free on the Marvel Comics app. It's brilliant. But yeah, I really am loving Black Panther, and the only complaint that I have is that there needs to be more of it. There needs to be more Black Panther in the Black Panther book. They have like the odd issue where they like concentrate on him, but as a whole, that's very few and far between, and it's mainly just focusing on Shuri, or focusing on M'Baku, or focusing on Storm, or like having cool moments with characters that aren't T'Challa, that aren't your main character. But anyways, that's Black Panther caught up with, essentially. I will see you guys in the next video, but until then, peace. Don't forget to check out my Twitch. Charity stream is happening next week. All through next week we're doing charity streams on Twitch. And yeah, peace.